Hello everyone, this is Talk Time with Cynthia. I'm coming today and we're going to be reading out of trying to finish up the book. Well, not finish up, but do another video on the black tax. Like I always do when I first start the video, I always like to say this is not to start controversy, but just to start a conversation. Not to create division, but to create unity, so that we'll understand how we got where we are, so we can get to where we're going, right? Okay, just to start a conversation. And then also, one other thing I want to say thank you to my subscriber. I got a new subscriber, and I want to let my new subscriber know that I appreciate them so much for coming on board. And I'm very, very excited about them being a part of the Talk Time family. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. So anyway, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I appreciate my viewers, so I don't want to leave my viewers out. Even though you're not a subscriber, you are much, much appreciated. So I really, really thank you guys so much for that. For just seeing me, clicking on, being interested, and to know, be interested to know what my conversation is and what my platform is about. So thank you so much for that. And then also, I want to say thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below if you have any comments that you want to make. Let's keep it respectful. That's what this platform is about. Positive, being positive, spreading love, peace, kindness, and compassion. And that's what we're doing. We're not trying to create a situation where the world is divided. Because even before the coronavirus started, I was on this wavelength of us coming together. And, it's a wonder that my spirit led me to be on this wavelength, because of the situation that we're in now. We need each other so much, and we need that unity so that we can help each other out, so this virus don't take us out, take our family members out, right? So just remember that, guys. Oh yeah, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos or whatever. And then also, don't forget to tell your family and your friends what your girl Sin is doing, because, we try to keep it popping over here on the positive side. Love, peace, understanding, and compassion, and unity over here. Togetherness, not division. You know how we do. You know how we do over here. We keep it all love, right? So anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start our reading our book. And I got it down here, so let me get it adjusted so I can start reading. And I'm looking out to the side, either over here or over here, because I'm holding my book behind my phone. So, and maybe one day I'll be able to get something different, so I can be able to read it from the screen. So anyway, I'm on my Android phone at the moment. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So I'm still on part is it part I'm still on part 2. Yeah, I'm on part 2. And a title, one of the titles in part 2 is Black Tax from 1965 to the Present. Okay, y'all, I'm I guess y'all can tell because I keep saying y'all, but I'm from the South. I'm Southern, so I try to make sure I'm seeing my words and stuff so everybody can understand. But y'all know how it is, that Southern twang. So be patient with me and everything like that. So, okay, here we go. It says, despite the monumental effects of the civil rights movement, which create massive opportunities for Black Americans, too. Okay, so let me show y'all the book first for those of you who haven't seen the book. And it's not my information, so it's by Sean D. Rochester, and it's called The Black Tax, the cost of being Black in America. So if you want to go and pick it up and read it at your leisure, then you can. But that's what I'm reading for the day. And I just felt like, it's something that I was interested in, so I figured my viewers and my subscribers might be interested in it too. And I think it's something good. It's a tough conversation to have, and I'm gonna read from the beginning, and I do apologize. It's a tough conversation to have, but I think it's a conversation that we need to have, right? And I've of course stated that in my other videos also. Okay, so let's start again. Black Tax from 1965 to the present. It says, despite the monumental efforts of the civil rights movement, which created massive opportunities for Black Americans too. Number one, attend world-class universities. Number two, pursue exciting and lucrative opportunities and career paths. Number three, start new businesses. And number four, gain access to capital and government contracts. Studies have shown that there has been little change in the relative rank in the overall earnings distribution of Black and white men since 1940. In 1940, the median Black wage earner made less than 75% of all white wage earners, while in 2009, the median Black wage earner made less than 73% of all white wage earners. Gains from the civil rights movement can easily be seen. I'm turning the page, y'all. In the black students who gained access to numerous predominantly white universities, went on to work for major companies and attained important leadership roles throughout corporate America. This allowed Black men in the 90th percentile of Black wage earner to close some of the earnings gap with their white peers. In 1940, Black 90th percentile wage earners made as much money as white 50th percentile wage earners. But by 2014, Black 90% percentile wage earners made as much as white 75th percentile wage earners. While these 90th percentile wage earners never achieve parity parity with their white peers, many of them were able to move out of economically depressed areas into communities with the resources and opportunities to prepare their children to succeed at the highest levels. Despite facing significant discrimination, their accomplishments were extraordinary given the pervasive effects of racial discrimination in the workplace. While researchers estimate costs about 94 billion to 123 billion in 1970 alone, while blacks in the 90th percentile did relatively well. Black men in the 70th percentile saw their earnings stagnate, and black men at the 50th percentile showed their earnings declined by 32%. This decline was driven by a dramatic increase in the percentage of black men of prime working age, 24 to 55. With zero earnings, especially no income. For example, no income, which almost doubled from 17% in 1970 to 35% in 2014. This dramatic increase was driven by, number one, globalization, the movement of manufacturing jobs, especially low-skilled jobs, from U.S. intercities to low-cost jurisdictions, especially low-wage cities around the world. From 1940 to 1970, approximately 3.4 million African Americans left the South to escape violence. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. To escape violence and disenfranchisement, and to ensure manufacturing jobs in northern cities by 1970. Okay, and then it says by 1970, 70% of African Americans working in metro areas had blue-collar jobs, and as the manufacturing jobs disappeared, so did the secondary employment opportunities, those in stores, support services, and banks, and millions of black families fell into poverty. Number two, an increased premium on high-skilled jobs required a college education or specialized training, and a decreased value placed on low-wage jobs. White Americans, number three, white Americans' reactions to the perceived advancement of black Americans due to civil rights. A. Massive incarceration stemming from tough on crime law and order the war on drug, mandatory minimum sentence, and other criminal justice policies that devastated the black community. B. Reduced tax base and property value driven by continued white flight out of inner cities into surrounding suburbs with little to no black presence. Number 4, the continued presence of anti-black discrimination in the workplace. Because black Americans have been historically forced to occupy the lowest wage, lowest skilled positions in the workforce, they were disproportionately affected by the movement of low-wage jobs overseas. Even though black American educational attainment increased rapidly between 1940 and 2010, it was not sufficient to offset the shift away from low-skilled jobs. In 1940, about 7% of black Americans had completed high school, and by 2010, almost 90% had completed high school. Okay, y'all. I had to move away from the area that I was in because the ants was eating up my feet. So let's get started again. And I apologize for that, for the different background. Okay, so then it says, while this is impressive, the value of a high school education fell dramatically after the 1970s. This meant that black Americans rapidly attained a degree that prepared them for low-skilled manufacturing jobs that were rapidly disappearing from inner cities. Therefore, the movement of jobs away from the inner city and the limited employment, turning the page, opportunities remaining for low-skilled labor led to increased unemployment, depression, and crime in black areas. In black neighborhoods. Sorry guys, I thought the ants was on again. In 1940, about 1.6% of black Americans had completed college, and by 1970, that number had increased to about 5%. The few black Americans who were able to receive specialized training or attend colleges were able to capture some of the increased premium that was being placed on high-skilled occupations. However, desegregation, various race riots during the late 1960s, coupled with white American conscious and unconscious bias against Black Americans led many whites to fear an increase in crime and a decrease in property value as Black Americans gained more ability to move into neighborhoods from which they had been previously excluded. This made many whites move out of inner cities and into suburban areas where there were fewer African Americans, as some Black Americans also began to move into suburban areas. White Americans moved even further out of the outer suburbs, where there were fewer blacks. As white Americans left inner cities and inner suburbs, they took the wealth and capital with them, and this white flight, combined with the job losses from globalization, further depressed property values and significantly reduced the tax base that many urban areas needed to fund public education and fire and safety departments. This reduction in tax base weakened public education in inner cities where most Black Americans now lived. And then it says, the resulting lack of economic opportunities in Black neighborhoods increased the appeal of illegal drugs, both as an escape for users and as a means of economic advancement for low-level sellers. The continued fear of Black Americans bringing crime to previously white neighborhoods also led to a rash of legislation that increased policing in Black neighborhoods, increased the length and severity of sentences for various crimes, and treated drug use and selling of drugs at the street level as a criminal justice issue instead of a health care and economic problem. The consequence had a devastating effect on Black men and a long-lasting impact on Black households. And it says the percentage of incarcerated Black men increased from 2% in 1970 to 8% in 1914. The percent of out-of-work Black men increased from 8% in 1970 to 16% in 2014. C. The percentage of Black men not working but looking for employment increased from 7% in 1970 to 11% in 2014. This black tax led to the percentage of Black men of prime working age, 24 to 55, earning zero income, increasing from 17% in 1970 to 35% in 2014. The impact became so dire that as of 2001 to 2001, 2,166,000 African Americans had been imprisoned, or 9.2% of the African American population over the age of 18. In addition, 33% of black men born in 2001 are expected to be incarcerated in their lifetimes and will be likely unable to vote and find employment due to background checks. Today, African Americans constitute nearly 1 million of the total 2.3 million people incarcerated, costing $30.4 billion per year. If those men were out of jail and earning $15 per hour, collectively they would add $30 billion per year to their family's income and lift millions of black children out of poverty. In 1970, nearly 70% of black families were composed of married couples. By 1990, the removal of young black men from mass incarceration had lowered the percentage of black households composed of married couples to less than 50%. Today, black families are losing $30 billion per year, and American society is losing $60 billion per year because of the 1 million black men in jail. The $30 billion spent incarcerating 1 million black men could cover the cost of a public college education and technical vocational training for all of these men. The culmination of centuries of the black tax has also left African Americans with not only a disproportionate share of low-paying jobs, but also with an unemployment rate that has been twice that of white Americans since 1960, which is almost 60 years. This means that as of 2010, if blacks had the same employment rate as white Americans, an additional 2 million African Americans would have been employed, which amounts to almost $80 billion per year of lost income and benefits to the black community, or $3.3 trillion over the last 6 decades. Okay, so we have another box, but this time this one is huge. So anyway, so it's going to take me a minute to read it. So this says black tax from 1619 to the present, a short summary. It says over 70 trillion of resources were extracted from and or not provided to African Americans, which effectively destroyed Black Americans' ability to accumulate wealth and leave a substantial legacy for our children's children. Let's take a look at the numbers. They are a frightening and sobering look at how pervasive and systematic discrimination and biases have taxed and negatively affected Black American. A. Slavery 1619 to 1865, 50 trillion. B. Present value of Black labor in 1860, 22 trillion. Homestead, this is C. Homestead Act 1862 to 1935, 1.6 trillion. Sharecropping, D. Sharecropping / Jim Crow Society, 1870 to 1935, 15 trillion. E. Great Economic Expansion, 1935 to 1965, labor, 4.4 trillion. Education, 2 trillion. Housing, 1.75 trillion. F. Post-civil rights era, 1960 to the present. 6 decades of a persistent Black-white employment gap, 3.3 trillion. Missing intergenerational inheritance, 4.2 trillion. And then G, continuing costs, 317 billion per year, current cost of lost equity value. 20 billion per year, current cost of 350,000 missing Black teachers. 3 billion per year, current loss income from Black prison population. So I'm gonna bite my feet again, y'all. 80 billion per year, persistent 6-decade Black/white employment gap. And then it says 72 billion to 93 billion lost in 2005 to foreclosures from discriminatory subprime lending. And 94 billion to 123 billion cost of workplace discrimination in 1970. On my job alone, y'all. That's a whole nother story I might want to talk to y'all about, depending on my decision. Okay, decades of a discriminatory black tax effectively excluded black Americans from increasing trillions of dollars. Receiving trillions of dollars of government support that was invested in the economic development of white families, communities, businesses, and institutions. While these anti-black discriminatory practices executed by both the government, private citizens, and institutions allow white families to buy homes, fund college education, start new businesses, and participate in almost 80 years of unprecedented stock and real estate market appreciation. Black Americans, when not subjected to mass incarceration, were largely confined. Sorry guys, that was my phone. I apologize. I'm trying to find out where I was. Okay, then it says black Americans were not subjected to mass incarceration, were largely confined to neighborhoods with intergenerational poverty, high unemployment, substandard education, and economic deprivation. Despite this massive historical black tax and the tens of billions of dollars of black tax associated with implicit and explicit biases in the real estate, automotive, and business financing markets, the mass incarceration of black men, and the discrimination in the workforce, the perception held by most white Americans is that black Americans don't try hard enough. Consider the following poll data. A. The prevailing view among almost 70% of whites is that blacks use racism as an excuse for failure. B. 60% of African Americans believe that blacks not 60% of Americans believe that blacks not trying hard enough is more to blame for their not getting ahead than any racial discrimination. The Pew Research Center for the People and the Press, January 2012. C. 6% of whites believe that blacks have equal opportunities with whites. While these views seem comical, unbelievable, and downright frustrating in light of the massive costs that have been imposed on Black Americans and the funds invested in white Americans, they are still held by millions of Americans and play a large role in the formulation and execution of policies that affect Black American wealth accumulation and economic development. And this is by Prince Niccolo Machiavelli. It says, it must be considered that there is nothing more difficult to carry out, no more difficult of success, nor more dangerous. Let me start over, guys. It must be considered that there is nothing more difficult to carry out, no more doubtful of success, no more dangerous to handle than to initiate a new order of things, by Prince Machiavelli. Okay, guys, that was the end of that one, and that was pretty long, so I'm not gonna do another one today. Tomorrow I will be doing another one, which is gonna be another long one. So I'm gonna be doing just the one for tomorrow. Ouch! I am getting it. So okay, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me and having an interest in what I am doing. So I just want to say, don't forget to be safe and protect yourself from this coronavirus, because our president seemed to think that it's a great idea to open up, lift the stay at home command, or whatever you want to call it. But y'all just be safe. Just do your own common sense stuff, and make sure that you just be wise in what it is that you're doing. So anyway, I want to say thank you so much, and I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.